I'm Emma Barnett. I'm the women's editor at The Telegraph, and I'm also a broadcaster. So I have a show on Radio 5 Live, and I also present on Radio 4. I went to a very good school for confidence, but for, I would say, self-deprecation and confidence. I went to a good British school, that's what they teach you. Be confident, but not too confident. But jokes aside, it's where the suffragettes went to school, it's where the Pankhursts went, and the whole motto of the school was quite feminist, very feminist in fact, was not only can you do whatever boys can do, you can do it better. The defining moment in my career was launching the women's section at The Telegraph, because it was my idea, and I had to walk into the editor's office, the then editor, who I didn't know very well, has and still has a very stern reputation, and I didn't know if it would go down okay. It was a huge risk, and I came up with it over Christmas. It took 8 or 9 months to conceive, it was like a child, and then finally we went live, and I didn't realise, looking back, how much goodwill and badwill there was for me. So there were a lot of people who didn't really want that to succeed, and it was a defining moment because it was a risk. I mean, ultimately when I think of the word friendship, I think of two things. I think of trust and I think of laughter. You know, your good friends should be able to make you laugh and deal with you when you're very sad as well. But I also think, you know, trust is incredibly important. I'm a very loyal friend. The thing I wish I'd known was that everything was going to be okay. I think there's a real problem in schools about infecting us with fear, and the girls are really susceptible to it around exams. Guys are too. Like, guys I was at school with were absolutely petrified, but they weren't ill. You know, they weren't not eating. They weren't, I mean, I ate. I had never had a problem with eating, but I was really concerned about exams. I did leave everything to the last minute, hence perfect for being a journalist, but I was very, very concerned, and I think it's good to have a healthy level of fear, but I didn't remember anything about the subjects I learned because I was cramming for my exams, and I think that culture of fear kind of follows you around a bit. So I would just say, like, chill out, give yourself a bit more time, and you will get there. Glasses. Big ones. An old friend's dad at parents' evening, and he was really sort of sidling up to the headmistress, and it was actually quite cringy, and I said to him, "Joe, what are you doing?" And he went, "Emma, one thing in life, the more you grease, the further you slide." And I was like, And I was just, at certain times in my life, it's just come back when you've got to sit with someone you don't really like, maybe schmooze them a bit, kind of get your points across. You know, our industry, the media industry, is very much about your personality and who you get on with. And on a sort of more serious note, I think politeness is really important. And so I always write thank you letters. I always follow up with an email quite quickly after meeting somebody, because it's those connections, and you never know when you're going to really need one of them. Well, I was lucky enough to be a tech correspondent at The Telegraph, and I used to go out to Silicon Valley a lot, and I would meet these amazing people who were creating businesses, such as the founders of Twitter. And when you do interviews with people like that, who are coming up with solutions to problems you don't yet know you have, you can't help but be inspired. On a completely different note, the other person I would cite is Dr. Helen Pankhurst. So Helen is the great-granddaughter of Emmeline Pankhurst, the suffragette leader. And she works, I would say, at the coalface of where women are still not having equal rights. And I've learned an enormous amount from her. She's incredibly selfless. And, you know, I've gone from sort of the temple of capitalism through to absolute human rights on the ground aid work, because those are the types of people I'm fortunate to interview and meet. Chips. Salt and vinegar chips from the chippy with my husband, possibly a brilliant film and a nice walk.